wanted to ask you about the Canadian dollar to start. It obviously had a one-day move. We've been shorted. A lot happening politically. You talked about it on the call. How it sounds like Mark Carney's now throwing his hat in the ring to be Prime Minister. I tweeted this, but it's pretty. I guess I hadn't followed that closely, but the Conservatives are, at least in polls, doing extremely well. The best they've done basically in 40 years. So there's going to be some changes in Canada. Will it actually mean anything for the dollar? And obviously then you have Trump, who's basically saying, let's have this pact. You can be the 51st state in theory. Maybe we have a common currency. Mm-hmm. What is the dollar telling us?
Well, one, it's at the top end of its range. The Canadian dollar CAD is versus USD, which you can see because I publish that daily.
Yep.
Two, you should have noticed that I didn't call out the Canadian dollar as the best short this morning. I said the euro was, right? And then I said the pound was. And then I said South Korean wons were, or Chinese wons could be. So I didn't put them in there for a reason, because now you have a catalyst, and you also have the quads.
Yeah.
So interestingly, but not surprisingly, if the dollar continues in quad 2, the Canadian dollar is going to go back down anyway. So the currency trade to me is more of a pause, and we'll see what the signals today.
Yep.
Whereas the equity market's definitely along. I've been back and forth, got stopped out of it when energy flushed. There are no rules against EWC as the ETF for that. There are no rules against going back and buying back something you sold, right? If anything, I bought the right things in its place, right? Because they went up and it went down, and then it just bounced. We'll see if that can recover.
Yep.
But if the idea is to bring in the central banker of Canada as their new leader, hard no. Is he run for the Liberals?
Liberal, yeah.
I would short that guy with as much liquidity as I possibly could. Are you kidding me? He's an ex-hockey player, I think, from Harvard too. So that's a little sugar on top. But the fact of the matter is that
goalie.
The answer, Jonesy, he was a goalie? Oh, great.
Played with Quanger.
Oh, great. I don't want to upset people who have friends, but let's just look at what's going on in the world. Argentina, which we're long, and the signal much prefer being long Argentina than Canada, is saying that is the political change we're talking about. That's cutting the deficit. It's cutting the bullshit. It's not doing what we were doing and doing it over and over again, which is the definition of insanity, right? Again, the whole world's actually telling you this right now. The impeachment or potential of it on, wax off, Squid Game 2 thing in South Korea, that's a shit show. Have you ever watched Squid Game? Everybody doesn't have any money left. That's why they do what they do, right? So this is what's going on in the world. And I think Canada has a moment, from a leadership perspective, I would be a much better choice, and Jones would be way better than me, than Carney. Carney? Get out of here, dude. The other guy, Poliak, what's his name, Poliak?
Yeah.
I would be shocked if they don't win.
Right now, it really looks like they do. But the problem in the parliamentary system with basically three parties is you can get the most of the if you don't get the majority, then you got to sort of partner with another party.
Yeah. Well, go to slide 36 now. So that's going to be an interesting dynamic, and I look forward to more political analysis because Jonesy can provide it on that. But if you look at, and we'll review this tomorrow during the macro themes presentation. Quite looking forward to that. You did not want me to present that yesterday when I looked like death. But here we are, Jonesy, right here. The two countries. This is the only country in the world of the G20, right? Do you see ones as the mean and mode? Do you see anybody else with three straight ones? No. What do three straight ones mean? It means your inflation is going from 236% to 75% to 47%. In the second quarter, we have GDP in Argentina going to 5.5% versus -5%. That's one of the biggest moves that you're ever going to find in a GIP model. Now, Canada's opportunity is that they're coming out of a recession. How do you get voted off the island after 9 years of Trudeau's bullshit? You have inflation, and you don't talk about it, and that's all the people talk about, and you have an economy that slows into a recession, right? That's how you get voted off political island. So the opportunity here for Canada is that they actually have very easy base effects, and they could have a Canadian economy with quad 2 is better than a Canadian economy with quad 1, because from a natural resource perspective, a lot more people, in particular where Jonesy's from, get paid in quad 2 more than they do in quad 1. Because in quad 2, what's going up? Oil, right? So this is a real interesting setup. And again, it's not wild and exciting, but what I would read here is if how do you pronounce his name again? Polyak? Pierre?
I think that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll have to get the.
Yeah, I
if
can
we're going to
pronounce
talk
Carney.
about it more, we'll get the pronunciation.
But
right.
this isn't wild and exciting. But what it just envision the future as it's already in its probability space. You get rid of Trudeau, and the economy doesn't magically reaccelerate. It's reaccelerating already anyway. So whoever comes in is going to look smart because the economic data keeps coming in better. Okay? So that's the reason to buy Canada. It's more obvious to be long Argentina right now, but we'll stay tuned on that.